Have you ever wondered what makes worship real? Is it about the songs, the place, or something much deeper? Today, we're stepping into one of the most powerful moments in the life of Jesus, when he walked into the temple, the most sacred place in Israel, and turned everything upside down. Stay with us, because what he did that day still speaks to us right now. And before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you never miss a powerful Bible story brought to life. It was the time of Passover, one of the biggest celebrations in Jerusalem. Jewish families from all over Israel, and even from distant lands, came to the holy city to remember how God saved his people from slavery in Egypt. The streets were alive with energy. Pilgrims carried lambs, children held their parents' hands, and the sound of prayers filled the air. But as Jesus entered the city and approached the temple courts, he saw something that broke his heart. The temple, the place that was supposed to be a house of prayer, looked more like a marketplace. Inside the temple courts, merchants shouted loudly as they sold animals for sacrifice. 2 doves for a shekel, lambs without blemish, perfect for the altar. Coins clattered on the tables of money changers, who charged unfair prices to people who had come with the wrong currency. The air smelled not of incense and holiness, but of livestock and greed. The poor, who had saved just enough to come and worship, were being cheated. The rich, who came to show off, barely noticed. And there, in the middle of it all, stood Jesus. His eyes scanned the scene. His face grew intense. This was his Father's house, a place meant for prayer, reverence, and worship. But it had been turned into a place of profit. John 2:15 tells us that Jesus made a whip out of cords. Imagine him bending down, weaving those cords together with purpose, with holy anger burning in his heart. Then, with bold authority, he stepped forward. Suddenly, the noise of merchants was replaced by the sound of tables crashing. Jesus drove out the animals, the sheep and oxen rushing through the courtyard. He overturned the tables of the money changers, coins scattering and rolling across the stone floor. His voice rang out, strong and unshakable. "Take these things away. Do not make my Father's house a house of trade." John 2:16. The merchants stumbled back, stunned by his authority. The crowds gasped. Some people froze in awe, while others whispered, "Who is this man?" The disciples, standing nearby, remembered the words of Psalm 69, verse 9. "Zeal for your house will consume me." They realized what they were witnessing. Jesus wasn't just angry. He was passionate about his Father's glory. He was restoring the temple to its true purpose, a place where people could encounter God without distraction, corruption, or greed. But not everyone was impressed. The Jewish leaders confronted Jesus, demanding, "What sign do you show us for doing these things?" John 2:18. In other words, "Who gave you the right to do this?" And Jesus answered with words that went far beyond what they could understand. "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." John 2:19. The leaders scoffed. "It has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you will raise it up in 3 days?" But Jesus wasn't speaking about the stone building. He was speaking about his body. He was pointing to the cross and his resurrection, the true sign of his authority. John tells us that later, after Jesus rose from the dead, the disciples remembered his words. They finally understood the temple was not just a building. The true temple was Jesus himself, the living presence of God among his people. No longer would worship be limited to one place in Jerusalem. Through Jesus, everyone, everywhere could encounter God directly. So what does this story mean for us today? It's a reminder that worship isn't about money, show, or convenience. Worship is about a heart that seeks God in reverence and truth. Just like the merchants, sometimes we let distractions, selfishness, or even greed creep into our worship. But Jesus still calls us back. He still cleanses. He still reminds us, "My Father's house is a house of prayer." The lesson is simple but powerful. Worship must be pure. Our hearts must be focused on God, not on ourselves. The day Jesus cleansed the temple wasn't just about tables and coins. It was about restoring worship to its true meaning. So here's the challenge. Take a moment today to look at your own life. Are there tables that need to be overturned? Are there distractions or sins that have crept into your worship? Ask Jesus to cleanse your heart so that your life can truly become a temple of His presence. If this story touched your heart, make sure to hit subscribe, give this video a like, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And in the comments, tell us, what does true worship mean to you? Because just like Jesus reminded the people that day, God deserves our whole heart,